Hello and welcome back once again. Um, so when we left off, we were talking about how the early civilians, were just spectators of the war, and how they would read about the war in letters and in newspaper accounts. However, the war quickly got close to them prior to the first battle of the war, which was Bull Run or Manassas, as the Southerners called it. Both sides believed that this would be the only battle of the war, and they were both very confident that it would be in favor of their side. Both the Union and the Confederacy were extremely confident that they would win the war. So when Bull Run rumors started coming to the citizens in Washington City, Washington, D.C., many of the civilians wanted to be a witness to that only battle. And so they traveled to a clearing near the battlefield so that they could watch it. Many of them even packed picnic lunches and they dressed in their Sunday finery. Obviously, today we knew that this was not going to be a very good idea, but Bull Run did not go well at all for the Union Army. The Confederates ended up chasing them from the battlefield, and the civilians were also chased from the area for their where they were observing the battle. But after that first battle, civilians did not find watching battles as being entertaining, and the reality of war was quickly realized. Now, throughout the war, citizens of small towns like Fredericksburg, Virginia, on the Rappahannock River, they found themselves occupied by one army or the other, and sometimes both, getting passed on back and forth and back and forth. Fredericksburg was situated directly between Richmond, Virginia, the Confederate capital, and Washington City, the Union capital, and it changed hands at least 7 times throughout the war. This made it an area of much misfortune for those who lived there, and it's also the focus of my second novel. I used the diaries of 4 women who lived there during the war, as well as letters and other primary sources when researching for the novels. It was fascinating and at times saddening to read their thoughts and feelings during this time. At the beginning of the war, many Southerners passed through on their way to Richmond, and in the spring of 1862, the town was under occupation of the enemy army. This severely altered the lives in many ways, but not to the point of destruction. That would actually come in the end of the year. Some ways that occupying armies affected the lives of the civilians included burning nearby bridges, which made it difficult for some civilians to travel. And when a city was under occupation by the enemy, roads and existing bridges into the city were guarded, and citizens would need to obtain special passes to get through. They would also be often searched, and at times their goods would be confiscated. As armies moved from place to place, they would take the flattest and most direct route that they had to get where they were going. But if that most direct route was across farmland of a civilian, then so be it, unfortunately. When it came to Fredericksburg, the Federals left in August of 1862, but 5 months later they would return to the area and occupy Stafford Heights, the land directly across from the Rappahannock River. Chatham Manor was a home on Stafford Heights, and it still stands today. You can go visit it. The Battle of Fredericksburg and the war itself was now at these civilians' doorsteps. On November 23, the Confederates arrived to defend the town, and civilians faced a seemingly impossible choice. Should they evacuate to homes and camps in the surrounding countryside, or should they stay in their homes, hunker down, and wait out the fighting? Neither choice was ideal, and we will discuss the choices that they made and the results of those choices during the next video. So, thank you for tuning in. Thank you for listening, and I will see you next time.